Guys, another Adonis review. Today we will be discussing Horizon Forbidden West on the next gen console. First things first, just want to go over graphic wise. I know there's a lot of hype around this game and how the graphics look, and they definitely do hit that sweet little spot you've been wanting to hit when you think of the graphics. I've never been I can't say never been so impressed, but when I think about games that have really, outdone themselves in beauty in my eyes, where I look at it, I'm like, wow, this is, not only fantastic graphically wise, but also just stunning. The first thing that comes to mind is Ghost of Tsushima. The way they did, the wind blowing fucking grass to guide your direction was beautifully done. But the game was also a fun game, very simple, not very creative. Ghost of Tsushima, that is. It just kind of it's like they pulled out all the stops on the beauty of it, and didn't dig much into the narrative of it, which is kind of like the downside of it. When it comes to another game that comes to mind, it's like Far Cry 6. They look so beautiful, but since it's up front and first person, you can see a lot of the flaws. It's not as smooth around the edges as other games. And now it goes into Horizon Zero Dawn. Even if you look at that game that came out back in 2017, if you looked at its graphics today or played that game today, it holds up. So with that being said, I was hoping this game would kind of reach a new limit. Hit that next gen itch I've been trying to hit for a while, and it gets close. I think the thing that kind of upsets me that maybe holds it back is the fact that they made a PS4 version. I'd like to see what they could do if it was strictly for the PS5 and and it was unrunnable on the PS4. That's what I would love to see, but who knows what that would look like, and how much better it could truly look, because this game does look phenomenal. I was watching or playing Apex Legends the other day, and I know Apex Legends is a multiplayer game. It's not great to compare to, but I was just doing, just randomly playing the game and looking at some of the cosmetics of just random areas of the game. And there are some areas that look pretty good on Apex Legends, but there are some that are just atrocious. You could be on a random hill, and the whole hill, like it's back in 2000. There's no grass on it. It's just like the cosmetic of green. And I'm not saying, again, it's multiplayer, they don't need to do that, but they could at least try a little bit harder, rather than just making it like a random hill, just the shade of the color of what you want to pretend it to be. With this game, you don't get that. There's literally areas where it's just not like the tall grass, like this red grass over here that has reflective lights and moves, but it's also just a small grass that like if you're on a fresh cut lawn, each particle in that holds out a distinctive uh, shade and a distinctive color, and it's just really gorgeous, along with the beautiful you know air mist shit that floats around the screen, and fucking pollen and whatnot. The death of any person who has any type of pollen allergies or anything. It's truly magnificent. And even this area I'm right here right now, if you're thinking, this area looks good, there's an area in the very beginning, the very first level of the game that you play, and it's much greener, much more lush, and it really, stands out how beautiful the game is. So, this definitely ranks, definitely top two or three graphic wise. I feel like it hits everything you expected to hit. Very clean, very smooth. The 4K pixels are really doing max effort, showing their job when you play this game. Everything looks beautiful. With that being said, let's kind of move on to the game and what you should expect. Now, when I think of the first, Horizon Zero Dawn game, I loved it, and I think I loved it because of the beauty of it. I'd have to say I was kind of underwhelmed with the story. Not that the story was bad in any sense; it was just kind of like by the numbers, boring. It kind of fell. the narrative fell flat. I don't know. I just wasn't that entertained. And I think one of the things that kind of takes away from the game, which takes away the enjoyment of it, and it's also they kind of have it in this game, but it doesn't take away as much. I feel like the story is a lot better, a lot more interesting, and a lot more better to understand. But and this might sound like a weird, it might just be a personal thing for me, but it's like the way the characters are dressed. They look like stock photos of generic people, and they just threw on like Indian tribes outfits with a fucking USB cord and and a HDMI cable shoved into their fucking outfit. It's just weak. They don't look like they don't look like they live in the land that they inhabit. They look like they have perfectly shaved beards. It's kind of like Attack on Titan. When you look at the Titans and they all look like goofy, generic white guys that have turned into like mongoloids, running around eating people. It's just something off-putting about the Titans. But with that being said, that it's kind of like a joke in Attack on Titan because they're eating people and stuff. And this is just like it feels like unique character design, and I don't necessarily like it, which kind of takes away from it. And it's not like it takes away hugely. It's whatever. But it's kind of one of my gripes about it. And obviously, it's not a big gripe, but I feel like it takes away from really feeling like you're in a land that's lived in because you have these people, these natives of this beautiful land that's been taken over by robotic monsters and dinosaurs, and and then they look like I don't know, they look like they're playing futuristic Indians at a party. But with that being said, this game improves on the formula in every way better than the first one. Like I said, the narrative's a lot better, a lot cleaner. I felt like the first time I was constantly wandering around doing shit. I had no idea what I was doing. Maybe that was my fault that I wasn't paying attention, but it wasn't really pushing me to pay attention. I could care less about what was kind of going on. The missions felt by the numbers, generic, random. Help somebody by defending them against something. And this one, they've added a lot of variety, which I've seen a lot of games do that lately. Like Far Cry 6, I feel like that game is fantastic in my books because they did the same thing. Far Cry went away from it being just, take over the base camp, take over the next base camp, climb something and survey the area. Into having unique missions where you actually did, interesting things. You had to maybe go to a treasure place and hunt something. And that's what I feel like this has done. It's created more unique missions to make the game more enjoyable. And that's awesome. And that's what makes a game, go from being, a basic Call of Duty game or Far Cry 3 or something, into being, The Witcher, is with those hard hitting side stories, that really engage. Now, are the side stories as good as The Witcher or as good as, Assassin's Creed has gotten over the past few years? I'd say not fully, but they've increased highly. Where it's it is interesting. They're getting close to it. The story is good. It's very entertaining, and it's definitely worth the buy. So if you were thinking of getting this game and you felt like it lived up to a legend and you weren't sure if it's worth the legend, I'd say it's pretty close. This is a game that I've been waiting for a while. That I felt like would truly be next gen. Again, I can't say that it truly is next gen because I played the Horizon Zero Dawn. I was playing the DLC of it, not too long ago, and I was surprised by how good it looks. So it really shows, is it a 5-year upgrade, the 5-year upgrade that you would expect to see from a next-gen console? I wouldn't say, it's not big of a jump, but the first one did it right, and this one, does it better. You'll be happy with it. The graphics are great, the story is good. The only other gripe I'd have to say is gameplay time. Story mode and everything's like 30 hours, 30 to 35 hours, with everything. Looks like it's going to be probably 40 to 45 hours at most, which is pretty lackluster, it's lacking when you're talking about open world games nowadays, when you can play Cyberpunk or Assassin's Creed, The Witcher, Far Cry, and easily put, 80 hours into a game. To go into this game and only have 40 hours to spend in it, it's kind of upsetting. I wish they had, and that doesn't mean I don't want them to necessarily fill it with just checklist tasks, that are just arbitrary and boring, just to have them there, just to pass time. But maybe I kind of wish they did have it, just to pass time. Oh, that sucks. But I kind of wish they did. Maybe it would make it a little bit funner, and I wish I got more bang for my buck, and if the game was, 20 hours longer with some checklist items, I'd feel like I got to learn more out of it. Now, that doesn't take away from a great story, Last of Us 2 is a fantastic game, and, it's only like 20, 25 hours, and, you pay full price for that, and that's just what it is. But, with this being an open world game, I guess kind of just hoped for more. But I digress. The game's fantastic visually. The story is better. The side missions are better. The combat's better. I feel like that was kind of the big problem with the first one is that it wasn't not necessarily difficulty because like I beat it with no problems, but sometimes you'd find monsters and creatures you'd have to fight and it wasn't so clear how to defeat them. You feel like you'd be hitting them with the element you need to hit them with, their weakness, and just wouldn't be doing the damage you need to do, and it felt like you could easily be overwhelmed. I guess where you just had to run through your life in the past one, and this one's a little bit more leveled, a little bit more a better understanding of how to attack. So the gameplay is a lot more user friendly. I'd say, and not like again, not saying that the other one wasn't. You could easily beat it, but there's a lot of times in the last one you just have to haul ass and get away if you got into a situation. This one's a little bit more. You can stand and fight, and you'll probably be okay. So, hope that helps. We usually talk, or I usually try to bring up what I pay for the game. The game's brand new, so probably gonna have to suck it up. It has been told that you can get this game for the PS4 for 60. And obviously PS5 for 70, and if you buy it for the PS4, you get a free upgrade. So it only makes sense to get the PS4 version of it. But with that being said, I'm pretty sure it forces you to buy the PS5 version. You can make that option if you're on a next gen console. So if you want to do that, get an Xbox, One version or PS4 version and just get the free upgrade, you have to buy a hard copy of it. So if you want to save yourself $10, that's the way to do it. You might be able to get this game on discount, for $30, $40 in the future, in the upcoming 3 months. But you'll have to wait for it. But I'd say finding this game for $40 is probably the best you're gonna find it, anytime in the next half a year. So if you plan to play this game anytime soon, I'd probably just accept the 60 and call it a day. But if you can find it for anything lower than 60, I'd do it. For at least for half a year, $40 and above is what you should expect. Beyond that, that is the Horizon Forbidden West review. Again, gorgeous game. The water effects are amazing when you swim under the water. I've never seen a game truly enhance it the way it should look under the water as well as this game has done it. It's a stunning game. I'm sure you'll be enthralled with it and enjoy it. So, hope you guys enjoy it if you play it.